Hello.
I'm audible? I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible, Peter.
Okay. Yeah.
Good.
Welcome everybody. Have you on site is great. It was really a nice feeling when entering the building today to see so many people here live, right? That was amazing.
Amazing. So really happy, and also thanks to the facility management teams. You know, if you don't know, if you see that, we could walk the nearly red carpet. It's like in a festival in Cannes. So perfectly done, even UI5
maybe
branded.
The Frucati.
So
yeah.
Good. We have a packed agenda, as you can imagine, today, and therefore we directly jump in. So we start in talking about innovations, achievements that we have done since the last UI5con. And basically, to prepare that, I was upfront looking a bit into our Jiras, and I saw that we have in the high-level Jiras 900 backlog items solved. I looked what are user stories, what are really features, and so we can roughly say we have 30 innovations per month. That means 1 innovation per day. And now, if we want to present innovations, you know, we can only handle the tip of the iceberg here in this keynote. Therefore, please make use of our What's New section in the demo kit. Please also watch our communications so that you do not miss anything important for you that will help you going forward. Let's now look into the parts that we will regard, let's say, in details here. We start in the programming model area, and there's one topic that we would like to talk about. MDC, MDC controls, metadata-driven controls. Basically, let's start what are metadata-driven controls. If you go back with me a few years, we had the smart controls, the OData v2 smart controls, and we had OData v2. Then we basically realized, okay, or saw there's, or even pushed that there's an OData v4 protocol improvement, and then we tried to bring OData v4 into the existing smart controls. And you know the result. This was not possible. The logic, the smart logic, and the protocol logic were too mixed, basically, and we decided to go a different route. And basically, the MDC controls, the metadata-driven controls, are the bug fix for this architecture and are the improvement, so to speak. They contain all the smartness without the protocol parts. And the protocol-specific part is now added by Fiori elements in the Fiori elements and the building blocks and the macros, and so we have a nice architecture. And basically, the news is that we have now released these metadata-driven controls with UI5 version 115. It's an open UI5, and it's also part of the documentation, and you can start. There's one tag experimental. That means we hear currently your feedback. If there's something, then speak up, and we can then still fix this before then really making it or to remove the experimental flag. What are the use cases? It's clearly if you have a protocol that is different from OData, then smart controls are, metadata-driven controls are the ideal way to go. And also we have use cases even together with OData. For instance, in the SuccessFactors sector, they have some applications that have a heavy customizing that is separate from the data sources, and so they use the metadata-driven controls to apply all these customizing settings to the screen. So this is definitely helpful for the colleagues, and also, I hope, helpful for you. Peter, you are next.
Yeah, as always, you are talking too long. So we know that. So the other part, what we want to talk about today to announce, to have you know that, is the UI5 Tooling v3. So the UI5 Tooling v3 has been released, I think it was in February or so. It comes up with very important features. Especially one thing is what we have long awaited, the ES 2022 support. That you can also have modern JavaScript code in your application. It's being built and packaged properly here. The other thing is that the build has been improved from a performance perspective to make it 2 times faster. So overall, this is also a beneficial thing coming with the tooling. The Workspaces support allows you to have also, let's say, local dependencies, and you can also work in a better snapshot mode together with that. And we use it especially heavily also internally while doing the development time. And last but not least, and another important thing, if you have developed one of the tooling extensions, you may have noticed that, is that we have now an enhanced extension API, which simplifies also development of tooling extensions such as middlewares or tasks. With that, I hand over back to you.
Good. Just to mention, the last 10 times it was Peter who took over time. Let's continue. So we worked on the Google Workspace integration. This is available on the ABAP Cloud Stack and on the ABAP Stack. And basically, the focus, this was overall an SAP project together with Google, and the focus that we had in UI5 was basically that we do the table export, the worksheet export together with Google. So basically, you can see the green button on the right-hand side. If Google Workspaces are configured, the table export offers this capability to export to Google. Then you also see the adjusted export to dialog. And here, the green part is, you can also see Google Workspaces. I have to gray out some parts for security, privacy reasons, so it's not a bug. And basically, this allows you now at companies who use Google Workspaces to connect also our software directly with Google.
Yeah, then let's take a look into the next section, rendering and controls. So one topic which is not so obvious still here in the UI5con is the web components topic. And that's why I want to mention it here explicitly also in the keynote. We have also later on a workshop after the keynote on that. So, but in the area of web components, also a lot of things have happened. And we are still on the way to prepare that, to make that the default thing how to write new controls. So the TypeScript support is also one of the things what we have done. So new web components, you can write them in TypeScript. You can benefit from code completion, all the development experience features you get from that. It comes also with a simplified metadata API, since we noticed that it was very complicated on the one hand side to do it today, and we come up with an annotation way of doing that, and that's also part of the latest features we developed around that. And for sure, micro-frontends are always a topic when it comes to integration scenarios. Here, we also prepared the web components that they come with a no-conflict mode, that they work together in multiple versions on the same screen, to be able to provide proper rendering of different micro-frontends with different versions of the web components. And last but not least, we are continuing to foster the web components as part of OpenUI5 and SAP UI5 to really make that ready to be usable in the future as the standard of the controls. With that, back to you.
Good, thanks, Peter. Now we talk about the Horizon theme update and also a design system update that we are currently working at. So basically, we received feedback that user experience is still not ideal. We also, as SAP, received the feedback that the consistency of our product is not as it should be. And also, there are new challenges like artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and whatever is around that also needs answers by the design. So the good news is we have taken up this challenge. So we are working for SAP UI5 and for UI5 web components on this kind of design improvements. The most visible and visual part is obviously the theme. You can see our Horizon theme. There's a new coloring, typography, iconography. So there's a lot of new things around. Also interaction design improvements. We will release them, as I said, around TECE, that means November or Q4 2023. And this will really help you to get a better user experience. And it's also good news for us all because SAP UI5 and UI5 web components are the central pieces to achieve this UX consistency within SAP. So also we internally, we even get also new stakeholders, new products on our shoulders, and it is good news, I would say, for all of us. Now, not handing back to Peter this time, we have other topic that is very important, and this is TypeScript, and there's only one person who can talk about best about it. That's Mr. OpenUI5. Welcome, Andreas Kunz, on stage.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Stefan. Yeah, in the TypeScript world, there has been a lot of changes. There has been a lot of changes and improvements in the TypeScript support of UI5. So let me just quickly scroll through the release notes of the UI5 type definitions, just to give you a hint of what has been happening in the recent months. A lot of stuff, and on top of that, not even mentioned here, all the teams went through their APIs to make sure that they are as precise as possible. They literally did, I think, hundreds of changes to all the APIs to make sure that not just object is returned, but an object with properties ABC that have certain types and so on. So this would then help the TypeScript developers or the developers using TypeScript to have the best possible support. And also via GitHub, we had a lot of feedback and improvement suggestions. And this was all incorporated. So lots of changes. One thing that did not change is that the fastest way or the easiest way to get started is just install Yeoman and EasyUI5 as template generators and say, yo, EasyUI5 TS app. So this app template, this TypeScript template, is the easiest way to get started with a full TypeScript setup. And I'm sure it will come up in a second. Yeoman always takes a while to load the template. Here it is. This template inside has, of course, been changed a lot and improved. So you just say yes, 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 yes here. Yes, I'm not Peter, but yes. And now the setup is already done. So it does the npm install right now, which is pretty fast. And then you just open VS Code in this folder, and you have the complete TypeScript setup ready here to disposal. So what is new in here? For example, in the previous UI5con, we showed that there's a source folder with all the TypeScript sources, and then there's a Babel transpiler configuration with 2 plugins that you had to configure, which would then transpile it to the web app folder, and the UI5 tooling would then from there serve it or build it. And this has been simplified a lot. There's no such source folder anymore. It's just all in the web app folder, the TypeScript sources right away. And inside the UI5 tooling, there's this tooling transpile plugin, which takes care of all the stuff behind the scenes. So the transpilation is happening on the fly, no configuration. Of course, in the TS config, you can influence what the TypeScript compiler does. But it's just in the web app folder, you have the TypeScript sources. Another thing is you see here some Karma configuration. So the testing was missing, actually, last year. And so far, because the OPA APIs are not exactly well suited to a typed world. They are a bit, interesting. And we have worked a bit on them, and we have come to a proposal, to a suggestion how to write tests. So with this setup here, you can just write npm test. And you have linting and the integration tests, with OPA, the unit tests. And this is something Peter has to fix.
If anyone knows how to fix that, please, after the keynote, you can come to me.
So this
bothers me since weeks.
This is about opening the hidden Chrome in which the tests are run. So this is some stuff around that. All right, so inside the test folder now you have really the setup for the OPA tests with the pages and journeys. And this is now all TypeScript code, fully typed, and that I can tell you it makes it much easier to write OPA tests. And once the test has finished, you can look up the coverage nicely here. In the HTML report, for example, you can, where it is? The index HTML, open it in your browser, and then you see the test coverage, and you really see the TypeScript sources here, how often every line has been executed and so on. So all nicely integrated, all nicely set up here. Talking about the transpilation, also in the past there was a third-party plugin from an external developer, Ryan Murphy, who had written a very central piece, and he has handed this over to the UI5 community, I think in March. So now the entire build pipeline is also, so to say, in our hands, and we can improve it, which we have already done. So that's also great news. So I would say overall, lots of stuff that has happened. And we are not stopping here. We are, of course, continuing to improve the type definitions of UI5. We have recently added full support for typed events. We are working on, or we have already provided for control libraries, that the DTS files describing these libraries are produced, so the consumers can work with them like with the UI5 libraries. And we are not stopping here, but still we are saying now, okay, this has been so many improvements. We are really feeling confident to now announce that with the upcoming version 116, the type definitions are no longer in experimental beta state, but ready for productive use. And Stefan, I think this also means something for the UI5 development at SAP itself, right?
Sure, Andreas. So we have a strong demand from inside of SAP to build applications with new application using TypeScript. For instance, S4HANA Cloud team wants to embrace that and going forward only develop with TypeScript. We have already smaller products already betting on TypeScript, so we are also good to go to follow that best practice, and so far we have really happy users. So there and do it. Good. Now a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
I'm really keen to see what is coming, Peter.
Me too, and I hope it works. So the next topic is in the area of the modular core, and you remember maybe the last year when I said, yeah, well, we have not much to say to show to you, and let's wait for the UI5con next year to give you more details about that. And this is the Bootstrap evolution. So how to make UI5 faster. And let me first explain it briefly. And in the Bootstrap evolution, I think that's the picture I showed also the last year. It's about that we change the way how UI5 is working, that it only loads what is really needed, to grow as we go. It's also the thing that we're switching to async. That's also what we do since a couple of years now to provide new APIs for the synchronous APIs as alternatives. We want to make it possible for you to faster access the DOM to do something already up front when loading an application. The flush of unstyled content, the FUC, this should be also something which is history, and that's also part of the Bootstrap evolution to make that possible. And last but not least, the UI5 tooling support to make it possible easily for you to build really such a specific Bootstrap. And in order to show that, I have a special guest from the core team. It's Jan Mummenthaler, and I would like to welcome you on stage to show to us what has happened here.
Okay, we worked quite hard to improve startup performance for a while. So let's look into what we achieved so far. So we built a nice little application for you. It's a to-do application. It's based on, you are using components, XML views. The controls are based on our web components library. So it's a lightweight little application. And we built two flavors. One is using the old existing Bootstrap you all know, and one using our new Bootstrap that's already in a snapshot. So if somebody wants to try it afterwards. So let's start with Lighthouse measurements. Well, that's what we normally do to check if we can improve or how can we improve our performance. We do so. Normally we do the measurement in a mobile. So Lighthouse simulates a mobile device with CPU throttling as well as network throttling. So what we get isn't too exciting. We get only 61 points. As you can see,
It's above 50.
yeah, it's above 50. Yeah, it's at least not red, so it's yellow. Yeah, but still some red numbers beneath. So yeah, we need a long time to interact with DOM, and it takes a long time to get ready for the application. It's about 7 seconds, so it's not really fast. So if you look at the network trace, what you can see here, it's a big footprint. So you need 1 or 2 megabytes zipped, and unzipped it's 4 something. Can't read it. Don't have my glasses with me. Yeah, so it's a huge application. It looks cool request-wise, so not too many requests, but all huge blobs. So we need to load the complete core library. The Bootstrap isn't really small. Then we need to load component resources and all this stuff, and we do that almost in a sequential manner. So loading Bootstrap, then library, then component, then we can create application, and so on and so on. So now let's come to the new approach we provide.
Take a look into the network trace already.
Exactly. And the first thing you should mention, or I should mention, is we reduce the footprint a lot. So it's only 500K and it's 2 megabyte unzipped. So it's more than half better. Don't know. It's really cool. And as you can see, it's a small new Bootstrap script, SAP UI boot. It's only 30K. And then we do not load the complete core library. We try to split it up into smaller pieces and load it only when we need it. And grow as we go, like Peter told. And we try to load all things in parallel, not in a sequential manner. So now let's do Lighthouse and check if this worked out.
So now where are the drum rolls? Keep fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing? It worked, Jan.
Yeah, cool. As we can see, it's getting much more better. We can interact with DOM really early, and we get to 3.5 seconds. Still yellow, but I think we can get to a green score here as well in the future. So everything improved a lot. That's more or less it for my demo part. I have one more slide for you. That's what I showed you. Yeah, the application using the WebC and the web components, and we also did a measurement using M controls, but it's harder to adapt. We need to adapt some controls to new APIs. It's not yet fully done, but we also could improve a lot here. So it's not green, it's not a 91, but it's at least an 80, and if we make the same things we did in the core, in the M library, we could also come to a green score in the future.
It's mainly, as you said, it's the cleanup of the controls, which we need to, we need to reduce the dependencies in the controls that they don't pull too much. And then we also are able to reduce the footprint of the SAP M library. And yeah, as you have seen, this is mainly also for a standalone application. So in the FLP scenarios, this would not help. But we have also something in mind for the FLP scenarios. It's called library chunks, which we will also tackle after this UI5con to improve the performance in the same way also for the FLP of your Launchpad scenarios.
Good.
Last comment, Jan, as you said, the feature is experimentally available since 116 then. So, or 117 roughly, the red one.
Yeah,
but we
try
will
it out,
also
use it,
yeah, we will create a block for you, and then you can try
Thanks.
that. Thank you, Jan. So let's go to the next topic, Stefan. You said something last year, legacy free, and people thought something about that.
Yep. Good.
You said
Basically, you might remember the slide from last year. As Peter said, I was explaining how we basically went over the history, how we innovated, how we managed to go to this different innovation cycles, and then we said, okay, we are now somehow a bit stuck. We are in a kind of an innovator's dilemma, and we introduced the term legacy-free UI5. And as Peter said, you gave us feedback. Also, we read the fine print in our API contract and also said, okay, maybe this is not completely correct what we try to do, and therefore I'm now proud to on stage use really the term UI5 version 2.0, what is about to come. Good. Many journeys have to continue here, also the performance journey, obviously, as indicated by Peter, but we have the ideal candidate here to talk about that, the APO of the core area and the tech leader of our 2.0 project. Welcome on stage, Jens Idl.
So, what is the UI5 2.0 about? So it's mainly to make the lives easier, to make it easier to handle for you and also for us, the innovator's dilemma, to be able to easier evaluate the framework. And what we've done is, or what we do is, to remove everything which is not required for best practices ideally. We will not make it because there are lots of applications around which we cannot just switch off. But at least for the new applications, they should concentrate on the best practices. And the first thing is we have removed deprecated libraries. So that's the SAP UI Commons, the SAP UI Suite. Don't mix this up with the SAP Suite UI libraries, which are from the SAP UI5. And then we also removed the SAP UI UX3 library. And the boxes are at scale, so you see it's around 8%. It's not that much, but what's more interesting and more important is that it makes maintenance easier and to leave out the old stuff. And by the way, the comparison, that's against the classic OpenUI5. Yeah, that's the runtime resources without web components, and it's the preloads, the messages for one language, for the English locale, and the Horizon themes. The second thing, that's removing deprecated code. And here, most important, synchronous JavaScript loading is removed, and also the globals. Why? Because this is actually always a breach of strict content security policy, and it makes the framework more heavy because you have to provide synchronous and asynchronous flows in parallel, and leaving out the synchronous flows, it makes it much easier. The second thing is outdated alternative APIs. They clutter the API documentation, make it harder to use UI5, and by leaving it out, the framework gets lighter. And reasons are, for example, the refactoring, for example, for the UI5 evolution, and also for this evolution of the Bootstrap. And then finally, as a quality thing, we have that the code cannot no longer use outdated, deprecated code because it's gone. And at the moment, yeah, you need to take care that this doesn't happen, and in future, it is automatically correct. So then let's look how it works in action. So we have already a UI5 SDK. It's generated each day from the development sources. Yeah, so that's it. And there is in the documentation, okay, it's a UI5 2 version, but still it has the same content as the 1 version. But what is up to date? That's the API reference. Yeah, you can browse through it. It's automatically updated because it's JSDoc. Yeah, it's from the source code generated, and you have in here the samples, which many of them are already working. Yeah. And now I picked one, it seems, that does not work.
So it's also true. Some of them doesn't work or don't work yet.
But some of them actually work. Okay. So, and now the question for you, the most interesting one most probably is, what do you need to do for your applications to run with UI5 2.0? And if those applications follow the best practices of the next long-term maintenance version, then the answer is you have to do nothing. It's running out of the box. And for verifying this, I looked a bit around for some applications, and I found 2 in the area of the... Oh, Stefan.
Oh,
sorry.
It's recorded.
I found 2 in the area of footprint management. One is running locally. It's required no changes at all. And the other one, and that's the one I want to show, and you see there's some security in between. It required one change because it used an enumeration value referring to the enumeration directly instead of the library. That's actually fixed meanwhile. Yeah, now let's check here. If you look about, yeah, we see this is 114. And if I now open the developer tools, sorry.
You can just move it to the right.
And just move it to the right. And then I reload. And check again. Then you see it's the version 2.0 snapshot, of course, because it's only available internally. And you can here, you see there are standard controls like the search field, like buttons, layout controls, also some micro charts. And now let's see also something in action. So the application is about sustainability metrics. So the other application I mentioned, there you can define such metric. And here you can specify what metrics you want to follow and what are your goals. And you can see here with the graphs where you are with your goals. And now let's just, for demo purposes, let me try to add the total gross emissions. And we want on 2030, we want to reach actually 10 tons. And then we say add. That's bad. So this is the XSRF token issue. But what would have happened is that it shows in this list, and you can also search in the list. Sorry for the security hassles here. Yeah, and then with that, that's it about UI5 2.0. But then still, I wonder, Stefan, why is there still legacy free on the slide?
Yeah, Jens, good point. So let's fix that. Good. You see there's still some work to be done. Basically, from SAP UI5 product perspective, you can roughly expect it in the second quarter next year. And for OpenUI5, around end of this year, beginning of next year, should be realistic. And as said, you have now seen, some figures up front that we removed 16% of the code, and you know that rule. 80% costs 20% of the effort, and 20% costs often 80% of the effort. It's maybe not that extreme, but for us, this removal is more tremendous as it sounds from the pure figuring, from the pure figures. So, Peter, let's look into key takeaways. With
just
our
speed up.
Close to the end, exactly. You have heard that what's new is your friend, to not miss any innovation.
Yeah, use the tooling 3.0.
There's a new Horizon theme coming and an update of the overall design.
Yeah, the productive usage of TypeScript is finally available for us.
And please get ready for UI5 2.0. Prepare your applications that they can continue running.
Yeah, new UI elements will be developed as web components in the future. That's why we are preparing the whole thing for that. And we also work on this better Bootstrap performance, which we will soon make available also in first releases. And then you can look into blog posts to try it out by yourself.
And the centerpiece is UI5 version 1.120. You get all these features that we mentioned, and it's the ideal release to jump over to UI5 version 2. Now.
So it's a wrap, or?
No.
No?
No.
One box.
We missed one box, Peter. You slept? Did you sleep?
I think I missed it. It was last night, yeah. So for sure there needs to be one topic.
Wrong.
You are too fast.
I'm too fast, Peter, yes.
Yeah, but now it's there already. You can go back. We have
ChatGPT,
by the way.
You know, we thought.
We have also ChatGPT.
Here we should be. Hey, we thought, hey, in 2023 there cannot be any keynote without ChatGPT,
For
Peter.
Sure.
So
yeah, that's why we want to show you a live demo, because we asked ChatGPT one thing, yeah. That's because, yeah, we don't have something really there. You just can go ahead, yeah, or I do it here. So, because we asked ChatGPT one thing, what should I do at UI5con today? And guess what? Takes a bit. At UI5con, attendees can expect a variety of activities, including keynote speeches, technical sessions, workshops, panel discussions, and networking opportunities. The conference aims to provide a platform for learning, collaboration, networking within the UI5 community. And now seriously, Stefan, you want to say a bit about that, right? No, too fast.
You are too fast.
You spoil, you spoil. Now you say what happened seriously. So you haven't seen that now.
Okay. Good, we did a super preparation. Good. You see. Good. No, seriously. So we will take ChatGPT very serious in product development. It will have impact on how we work and on how we develop and how our software will work. So we do also research. We at our own developer conference just showed a demo where ChatGPT was able to create a CAP service with UI5 Your Elements application on top fully automatically. So this is one direction. You can also find videos by the open source community outside who have achieved this. So there's more to come, and you will see also a real demo soon, I can promise you that.
Yeah, and now ChatGPT is still thinking. That was my gag, by the way, at the end. Yeah, now it's up to you. Follow the motto: learn, explore, and connect. And with that, I think it's a wrap. See you.